You woke? Time to get up. Hello and welcome to Thought Your Woke No Speed Limit Podcast. I'm your host, Alvin. I hope you guys are having a terrific day. Hey, this has been a weird couple of weeks in politics, okay? So, just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Biden and Trump had their debate, and it was terrible on both sides, really, to be honest with you. Biden was stumbling, and Trump he just fumbled his own ball by just randomly saying the same lies over and over again. So between the two of them, the debate wasn't that great. It really hurt Biden because people said, "Oh, Biden looked old," and then came the calls for him to drop out because they were watching the poll numbers drop. He dropped down by 2-3%. He was already at 1 or 2% behind Trump. Now he dropped down 2 or 3. It's time for you to go. So the Democrats pressured Biden, and as of yesterday, Biden dropped out. And that's just the honest assessment on my part of looking at it. He was pressured. Nancy Pelosi, who's up there herself in her 80s, pressured him. You had Chuck Schumer, who's up there in his age, talking about Maxine Waters' 80s. She supported him. And I'm gonna talk about that in a minute too. Try to keep this as simple as possible, though. So Biden is out. He endorses Harris to replace him. And a lot of people are happy about that. So they're working to try to make this better for Harris, who will be the next, who hopefully will be the next front runner for the Democrats, who will be the Democratic candidate going into the election. Now, let me talk about all the eggs in the way. First one is this: Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, and even Pete Buttigieg to a certain degree, along with Andy Beshear of Kentucky, all have opportunities here to become the Democratic nominee. I have a feeling, however, they're going to let Harris go ahead and take this one. And Gavin Newsom and Whitmer will either wait till the next cycle or the cycle after that before they try to run again. If Gavin Newsom keep himself in the news and keep himself popular, he'll have an opportunity. Now, that being said, this is who is currently endorsing Harris: Biden, the Biden family, Clintons. The Clintons are also endorsing Harris at this time. Now, that being said, Obama has not said anything about endorsing her yet. And he's playing the Leo game. We're Leos. We gamble. We play politics with this thing. So he's gonna wait till he just says he wants to have a good DNC so that we may pick the right candidate to beat Trump. That's what he says. We'll see how this goes, right? Now, getting past that egg, who would be the vice president in this situation? I mentioned Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer. In a way, I think those would be a great idea for vice president because of how strong candidates they would be. They look like they could beat Trump by 5 or 6 points in the polls. That doesn't mean anything. It all depends on how you do on face-to-face performances against that guy. Josh Shapiro is another one that possibly could. But Josh Shapiro, Andy Beshear, and Roy Cooper seem to be the number one runner. Who is Governor Roy Cooper of North Carolina? I don't really know much about him. I know he's the governor of North Carolina, a very conservative state. It's kind of purplish. It's a leaning red state, and Roy Cooper is one and is the governor of that state, so that's a good thing. Andy Beshear is in a very red state in Kentucky. That's Mitch McConnell's state, Mitch McConnell's stronghold. Mitch McConnell has ran against him, and Andy Beshear won. So that says a lot right there. Andy Beshear is definitely probably the front runner for me. Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania. He's a strong Democrat in a state that's kind of purplish. To me, Pennsylvania could go either way. We're talking about a state that has open carry laws, has a very Republican Senate and things like that. I think Josh Shapiro might be a good candidate, but he's got the East Coast. Here's the reason why somebody like Gavin Newsom would not be a good candidate. He's also from California, so that's just West Coast on West Coast. It means absolutely nothing. So it kind of eliminates him from Gretchen Whitmer, great candidate from Michigan, very liberal. Two women on the ticket would be awesome, but at the same time, it might be a foil if you're trying to get men's vote. So she's off the list. So that means that Andy Bashir sort of kind of dots the T's and cross the T's and dots the I's as the best candidate or Roy Cooper. I would prefer Andy Bashir, but if you don't want to lose Kentucky, you might keep Roy, and get Roy Cooper. But then again, you don't want to lose North Carolina either. And actually, North Carolina's votes matter more than Kentucky's. So Andy Bashir would probably be the best candidate of those. Now, some other people they talk about, like Pete Buttigieg. Uh, Great transportation secretary, probably run again in a couple of years, I guess. Maybe. Hopefully. We'll see. Or Tim Walz of Minnesota, or Governor Tim Walz. Midwestern guy, could get that Midwestern vote. But you got to think about what you're going up against. I think Andy Bashir would be the perfect one. You got J.D. Vance and Trump. J.D. Vance is probably more well-spoken than Trump. He's a sniveling little butt kisser, but it is what it is. So that's fine. Everybody's, oh, he's an independent-minded individual. Yeah, if you were independent-minded, you wouldn't be behind Trump right now after you've already said you didn't like Trump in the first place. So, yeah, you're not independent-minded. People say we need better candidates. I understand the argument against Harris by some people that just don't like her. And I don't, I guess because she talks about abortion, she's a woman, and to them, she's a feminist. I have no problem with that. I think she can do a great job being president of the United States, being the chief executive of the United States. I think she can do a good job, and up against Trump, she probably has a better chance. Now, here's the other thing. Trump and those guys, they're running scared right now. They're thinking about who they're having to go up against. So they're running scared. I like that. I love it. They're running scared. So, of course, they're also asking Biden to drop out as president of the United States. So he needs to leave office as president. They want her to be distracted as much as possible. They want her to not only be president of the United States and then try to run a campaign so they can try to balance it out for themselves. Now, Biden doesn't need to drop out of the presidency. I think he's fine enough to run that to the end. But he, like I said, when he was in the debate, he said he had a cold. Now, here it is 4 weeks later, you got COVID. Maybe he had COVID then. And he's just been suffering from it the whole time and hadn't been able to get rid of it. I don't know. Hey, they give you good drugs when you're president, because Trump had it, and they were giving him some good drugs. He thought he was cured in 5 days. So, like I said, there's also some opposition in the Democratic Party to the fact that Biden dropped out. They're upset with the Democrats because they feel like they forced him out. Like I said, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, some of those folks. Then AOC and Bernie Sanders on the progressive side have supported Biden being in office. So now they've lost that guy. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with this. I think Harris is going to get it. Some of the Republicans are going to try to contest these elections in different states. Now, let me explain about that contesting. They're talking about that in some states like Nevada, there's this rule where Nevada says you can't get off the ballot unless you're dead. That's the only way that you can get off. You'd have to be dead. So here's the thing with Biden. Biden, if they've already written him in, the DNC has not selected him as their person running for the DNC as the Democratic nominee for president. He's only won primaries. That's all that's happened. That doesn't put you on a ballot as president of the United States. So that's an issue that they're running up against here with these lawsuits. But there's a chance that the Republicans will do anything they can to try to get Harris off of the ballot. Anything they possibly can. Anything and everything. Especially if they get an opportunity to get this all the way to one of their Trump judges, which they should sideline themselves for those particular cases. Say, hey, you need to put this in somebody else's court. That probably won't happen either. So, that being said, that is the biggest challenge. Now, the Republicans are scrambling, trying to figure out how they're going to fight Harris as compared to Biden. Like I said, it was going to be about age and about his current record. I guess you can kind of get Harris on being a record because she's the vice president behind the current president, maybe. but it just depends on what her platform comes out. Like I said, one of the things I think she should probably focus on is Project 2025. Of course, she's going to focus on abortion, and those are her big issues. I think she needs to focus on those two things, and that will be winning points for her against the Republican Party. That's pretty much how I feel about this. I feel that she's a great candidate. She's a great choice. I just can't. I can't wait till she gets out on the campaign trail. My thing is, if you're a person that's opposing her and you want Gavin Newsom or Shapiro, they've always got the opportunity to run next time. Just saying. Anyway, folks, I'm all out of time. I wanted to keep this as short as possible. Y'all have a wonderful day and peace.
You have been listening to Thought You're Awoke No Speed Limit Podcast.